It's Thursday of Holy Week. And on the night he was betrayed, so much happened. Among the events, we learn that Jesus washed his disciples' feet. He shared a meal with them where he took two common elements, the bread and the cup, and he gave them new meaning. And he led them to a place called Gethsemane, where he prayed in agony and was eventually arrested. Today is what some refer to as Maundy Thursday. The word Maundy meaning commandments in Latin. Refers to the teaching that Jesus gave to his disciples on the night he was betrayed, primarily from John chapter 13. The specific command to love one another is at the heart of this day. Jesus was about to be betrayed. This would set into motion the final events of Holy Week. There's a verse, though, in John chapter 13 that becomes one of my favorites in Thursday of Holy Week. John 13, verse 1, which says, "Having loved his own who were in the world, he now loved them to the end." Or as some translations say, showed them the full extent of his love. He loved them by serving them. He got up from that meal, wrapped a towel around himself, and washed their feet. Not without opposition, of course. I mean, after all, the Apostle Peter's part of the gang. "Lord, are you going to wash my feet?" No. Lord, you are not going to wash my feet. This is below you. You're the master, not a servant. But Jesus explains something to him. And we read that in John 13, verses 8 through 11, where it says, "Unless I wash you, you have no part with me." "Then, Lord," Simon Peter replied, "not just my feet, but my hands and my head as well." Jesus answered, "Those who've had a bath need only to wash their feet. Their whole body is clean. And you are clean, though not every one of you." For he knew who was going to betray him, and that is why he said, "Not every one of you is clean." His priority was servanthood. He served them. He lived out a parable. They were part of the parable as he washed their feet. And by his actions, Jesus showed us that nothing indicates love more clearly or more fully than to humbly serve others. It's what he did. It's what he expects of us. The example of his love went on that night. It happened at the table where he took, as I said, two common table elements, bread and a cup, the cup containing wine, and he gave them new meaning. Took two very common, ordinary elements and made them holy, just like he does for you and I. And then he leads them off to Gethsemane, the olive press, where he prayed in agony. Agony so strong, so deep that his sweat was like drops of blood. But he says two things in that garden scene. Luke chapter 22, verses 40 and 46 repeat the same thing. "Pray that you will not fall into temptation." Pray that you will not fall into temptation. Andrew Murray once wrote, "God's child can conquer anything by prayer. Is it any wonder that Satan does his utmost to snatch that weapon from the Christian?" There are many things, I think, in my estimation, that Satan uses to try and snatch away our attitude of prayer, or our attitude of love, or our attitude of serving. Again, all of the events of Holy Week focus on really an example of what our heart attitude should be, and Thursday is no different. We need to love fully, which means we need to serve others, and we need to pray as well, and pray and not fall into temptation. Love, serve, pray. These are the words that summarize Thursday for me. And may we have the same attitude as Jesus, who prayed in the garden, Lord, not my will, but your will be done. Lord, not my will, but your will be done. May his will be done even today as we reflect on the various events of Thursday and our current status in this world. Until next time, shalom. May the peace of Christ be yours. For further study, read John chapter 13 and contemplate what it means to have our feet washed. Consider how that connects with our need to daily come to Jesus for cleansing from sin. Read Luke 22, verses 15 and 16, and consider what Jesus meant when he said he eagerly desired to eat this meal with his disciples. And read Luke chapter 22, verses 39 to 46, and pray you do not fall into temptation.